Hey everybody. So here we have a 2014 Whirlpool Cabrio Platinum Dryer that I found at the curb a while ago. Only getting a chance to look at it now, and there's some issues with it. So let's take a spin around and I'll show you what I see right off the bat. So far so good, right? Doesn't look too horrible. The parts that are on top of it should give you a clue. So I found it almost in this condition. The back panel, which is right there, was on it, but this electrical housing here, I mean, it looked like it had been ripped to pieces, right? So this wire was broken. I mean, this is all bent, you know, way out of whack. I actually cleaned it up a little bit, but yeah. So this is a 2014 model, and I want to see if this is better than what I have in my house now, because it's a 2012. So I think the first step is to get our wiring situation in order, hook it up to a power supply, and see what actually happens. Does anything work? If so, what works and what doesn't? So let's get you situated and we'll figure this out here. Alright, so I picked up one of these things on eBay. I think it was maybe 15 bucks. To buy this part new, believe it or not, it's like 60 bucks. Insane. I'm guessing if this thing just bolts in right here. I don't think I have the screws for it, but I'm sure we can figure something out. So I think the first step is to cut back some of this tape and get some wire exposed so we can splice this piece in. Okay, so here's our loom. So yeah, something like that. And I'm just going to wire nut these in place, and the repair kit that Whirlpool sends actually does the same thing, so I think that's minimal risk. So let's see, we're going to need some wire cutters. So we'll cut this off here. Get this thing out of the way. Let's make these all the same length, just for ease of installation. Strip these back. So right now, just to reiterate, the name of the game is just seeing what works and what doesn't. If this thing's a steaming pile, I'm not going to invest any more time or money into it. But it does have a steam clean feature, which my dryer does not, so it's kind of a fancy dryer. Okay, so I got some wire nuts. I'm going to use red ones. Got to twist the stranded wire together. That, and we'll make this prettier and more secure later if this thing proves to be worthy. This is purely for testing purposes right now. Cool. Make sure these are nice and snug. Alright, so now we can hook up our power cable to this bad boy. Our ground goes up on this green screw here. Okay, this should be enough to make it run, or try to run. I think I'm just going to throw a rag on this thing just to make sure that it doesn't short out while the machine is moving around or anything like that. So maybe we'll just cover it like this. Because again, that really should be secured better. All right, let's plug it in and see what blows up. Okay, power's coming on. Power. Nobody home? Did I forget to turn that panel back on? I did. Power? There we go. Let's see if it actually does something. Start. Blowing lint everywhere. Let it run for a minute. Stinks a little bit, probably because all the lint, but yeah, it does work. Heating element seems to be okay. So I'm kind of debating. I bought like a whole dryer rebuild kit for it, expecting to have to put rollers and whatnot into it. This is the kit that I bought. Shut this thing up. So this comes with new rollers, new idler, a belt, which I don't think fits this machine if I remember correctly. This is like a universal kit, and it only fits some parts, only fit some machines. But it doesn't seem to have any issues though, so I'm kind of inclined to not mess with it. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I can always keep this to spare. All right, I've decided we're at least going to inspect and see what's going on there, because this dryer is not easy to move around. Believe it or not, it's too big to fit through the doorway in my laundry room. I had to take the one that's in there now. I had to take that apart just like this when I bought it, way back when. All right, so let's start by taking the cover off. I haven't taken one of these dryers apart in a very long time, if ever. So if I do this wrong or fumble around, please forgive me. Does this thing slide forward like the washer? I want to say these things slide forward. Doesn't want to move at all. Oh, yeah, it did move a little bit. All right, I figured it out. It's like some of the older style machines. So you stick a knife in here, push in, stick a knife in here, push in, and lift up. I have no idea what just fell. Okay then. As I did some poking around, I think we're going to have to remove this whole front cover to be able to get the drum out. I see there's a screw up here on both sides. I think there's one down below too. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get that. There's one screw. Nice. I think all the screws on this machine are the same. It's actually kind of nice. No idea how I'm going to get the lower ones yet. Let's unplug this harness here before we break something. So we have to get the other screws from the bottom. It's kind of a weird design. Let me try flipping it on its side. Nope, that's not gonna work. Maybe I was wrong and there aren't screws at the bottom? This is just oh. Duh. Don't I feel stupid? Just lifts right out. You know what I always say, folks, can't fix stupid. So that thing that fell before was this little clip, which anchors the lid in. So I'm just gonna put that back on the front cover assembly. This looks like the next order of business. So just looking at how the screws are, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and these screw holes up here are oval. So I'm guessing you take out the bottom ones and just lift the whole assembly out. loosen those, but not take them out. Again, I guess. Could be wrong. Let's see. Just take them out, it'll be easier. Probably need to undo this electrical connection down here. That was the most annoying part of this job so far. All right, let's see. I think this should lift out now. What's holding us? Maybe we got to take this vent assembly all the way out. 2 screws in the bottom. I think that did it. Okay, so there's our front cover. You can see 2 rollers. They actually don't look horrible. Let's get our drum out. This, my friends, is how dryer vent fires start. You can see all the burn marks in the lint. Got everything all nice and cleaned up. I did confirm that the belt is not going to fit. The belt that this unit takes is a little bit longer than what comes with the kit. But let's do these rollers. Maybe. There we go. There's one. Don't look horrible. They're hard to rock. They are not the easiest things in the world. I'm just going to put a drop of oil on the shaft here. Yes, I said shaft. Slide on a new roller. Another one of these triangle thingies. Beautiful. All right, let's do the other 3. I'll show you guys one more. I'm gonna cut that down, right? And another triangle thingy. Beautiful. Okay, got all 4 rollers changed. Now I'm going to go change this idler pulley. The kit comes with a new one. Same deal, you got to take off that little triangle thingy. Slide that bad boy off. This thing feels like it's seen better days. It was a little rough. Put another drop of oil down there. Our new idler. That one moves a bit nicer. Cool. Okay, now it's time to put this thing back together. And again, I'm going to be reusing the original belt, only because the one that comes in this particular kit is not the right size. It's too small. So let's see if I remember how this belt routing worked. So I think we have to go under the motor like that. And then, wait, what was it? Okay, I think it gets routed like that. So when the drum is in, that tensioner will be up like that, and this belt will be on the other side. So I think that's how it came out. Let's give it a shot. This should be fun. That didn't work. I wonder if we can get the belt on from the back. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, I do kind of have access back here. That might work. I mean, that looks right. So we're going around the motor shaft, up and over the tensioner. Now we need to put that front cover on. I think we should probably spin the tub a couple of times just to make sure everything's A-okay there. So that was marking outside the drum. We're not on the rollers. Ah, come on. There we go. Let's get those bottom screws in down here. See, everything moves really nicely. Perfect. All right, now we gotta get this bottom vent on. There were 4 screws that held that. I might clean this out a little bit with some more compressed air. It's still kind of nasty. Okay, all clean. I think this has to slide up. There we go. sure everything's nice and tight. Gonna plug this fun harness back in. Like so. I think the previous owners of this dryer were beachgoers. Sand everywhere. So how does this thing clip in now? I don't quite get it. No, it drops in. It's like we get a lift. That's clever. Put our 2 screws up here back in. Yeah, I know you guys can't see, sorry. Makes you feel any better, I can barely see. Don't forget to plug back in this harness here. Okay, now let's put the top cover back down. There we go. Start it up again, make sure it works okay. Seems to be running. She purrs like a kitten. I think we gotta turn our attention now to the electrical box in the back and secure that a little bit better, because we don't want wires just dangling like that. Much quieter. All right, let's clean this thing up a bit. So I know that the Whirlpool approved repair is to use wire nuts, but I'm gonna solder them and put wire nuts on there for the simple reason that dryers vibrate a lot, and I don't want these wire nuts vibrating off. Or I guess the connection's loosening up because of vibration. So that's what I'm gonna do. Wire first. Just dip it in some flux. Using my good old Weller soldering iron. There we go. It's never going to come apart. And we'll just do the remaining wires just like that. Okay, I got all 3 wires soldered. Put those wire nuts on really tight. And again, I'm only doing this because of the vibrations that are inherent to an appliance like this. It's probably overkill, but I don't want this thing shorting out on me. That's not going anywhere. And this thing is supposed to mount in here like that. But of course the screws are missing, so let me see what I can dig up. Alright, I found a couple self-tappers that are pretty close. Let's give those a shot. Obviously don't want to self-tap into our wires though. Seems secure. Alright, so I got the electrical compartment hooked up. I got this clamp on here, which was either ripped off or missing. Got all the wires secured. So I think this thing is ready for the back panel to go on. I'm not going to put that on camera, only because, like I mentioned this earlier, but the dryer won't fit through my laundry room doorway with this back panel on. So anytime I move my dryer, which I think I also mentioned is a clone of this one, anytime I move it, I always take the back panel off, or have to take the back panel off. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So anyway, hopefully you found this video helpful. Showed how we could trash pick a dryer and a washing machine. The washing machine is going to be covered in a separate video. We just fixed it up for a very small amount of money. I think that roller kit was maybe 30 bucks or so. And cleaned it out internally. It's as good as new. It's good for another several years, maybe more. Whoops, I goofed. The neutral shouldn't be hooked up to the ground. This is what happens, you get numb to something because it's done, because something was done a certain way. This is how it came hooked up, but that's wrong. You don't put the neutral to the ground, which is what I'm starting to do again. You hook the neutral to the neutral terminal and the ground to the ground. That's how it should be hooked up, folks. Sorry about that. All right, and here's the finished product. You can kind of see why now I had to keep that dryer disassembled. This doorway is really narrow. But here are the washer and the dryer, both trash picked, installed and in use. I'm happy.